When we think of SCPs, we imagine dangerous monsters, mysterious objects, and unexplainable phenomena, so when we see SCP-230's wiki article and come across the name, the Gayest Man Alive, we're definitely left wondering, what is SCP-230 and why does it have this nickname? In this video, we explore the Gayest Man Alive. Also, if you enjoy our videos, then please subscribe with notifications. You will be notified of our content, so you won't miss any of our uploads, and you would help the channel a lot by doing so. Let's begin with the Gayest Man Alive's description. SCP-230 appears to be a Caucasian male in his early 30s, who is about 6 feet 1 inch tall and weighs around 150 pounds. As for his appearance, 230 has a lean build and gaunt appearance. He likes to wear bright clothes consisting primarily of pink and yellow, so on first glance, apart from his distinct taste in fashion, nothing seems to suggest anomalous activity. However, SCP-230's behavior is somewhat suspicious because the man is very cheerful, to the point when he doesn't seem to be capable of experiencing negative emotions. And indeed, this isn't the only weird effect regarding 230, because the man can secrete a chemical substance from his pores which resembles a very addictive narcotic. This substance is highly contagious, because when secreted, it will immediately evaporate and contaminate all the surrounding air. And as expected, when inhaled by others, SCP-230's substance will cause various anomalous effects. This is because any individual who inhales it experiences euphoria, and their dopamine rises to over 5 times the usual level. And to top things off, this liquid is also present in SCP-230's bodily fluids, including his sweat, meaning that skin contact with the anomaly is more than enough for an infection. Also, comparing 230's substance to narcotics is made more appropriate by the fact that all affected subjects express similar impairment. But most importantly, anyone who inhales this chemical becomes strongly attached to the man and is willing to comply with any request by SCP-230 as long as it does not involve leaving his presence. As such, infected individuals will usually follow 230 around, turning into near mindless servants. This is because this substance causes immediate addiction, and when contact with SCP-230 is broken, the said person experiences severe withdrawal with a 30% mortality rate. This period usually lasts around 2 weeks, and afterward, the symptoms will subside if the individual survives the initial phase, of course. Also, the severity of the withdrawal depends on the amount of exposure, and anyone who directly ingested SCP-230's chemical will eventually expire. And finally, 230's cheerful behavior and his inability to experience negative emotions suggests that he is affected by his own substance, but in contrast to all others, he isn't impaired by it in any way. 230 was discovered in an apartment in a redacted location, along with 20 infected individuals which acted as his servants. However, the man apparently tried to limit the amount of infected people because several expired persons were found on the premises. When questioned about them, SCP-230 said, "Things were getting crowded, so I had to ask a few of them to stop breeding." Of course, 230 was contained right away, and ever since, many tests have been conducted. However, all attempts to naturally alter SCP-230's mood have proven ineffective. As such, the scientists used various chemicals which usually cause a depression effect, but this only resulted in SCP-230 producing more of his substance. But despite of these tests, 230 has always been very friendly towards SCP personnel and happily engages in conversation. As such, SCP-230 was interviewed, aiming to uncover more about his origin, but unfortunately, when questioned about his past, he claimed that he is not aware of how he began to secrete this compound, and he stated that he has had this effect for as long as he can remember. Also, when conversing, SCP-230 generally ignores negative topics and instead focuses on what he considers good, or as he most often puts it, gay. In fact, 230 seems to have some psychological attachment to the word gay, something which becomes apparent during the shortest of conversations. For example, when asked to describe himself, SCP-230 used the word gay 6 times, gaiety 4 times, and the word gayest once. Also, 230 has referred to himself as the gayest man alive on more than one occasion, which subsequently became his nickname. However, it is obvious that SCP-230's connection with the word gay has nothing to do with his orientation. In fact, he does not appear to have an orientation, because due to his substance, SCP-230 experiences the same amount of pleasure doing any activity, making intimate relationships unnecessary. During his containment, one notable incident has occurred. On one occasion, a level 2 researcher was exposed to SCP-230's chemical, and this researcher was immediately quarantined for treatment. 1 month later, all symptoms had disappeared, so after he was cleared by the medical staff, the scientist was released. However, 2 months later, the same individual tried to break into SCP-230's containment chamber, and when personnel tried to detain him, he reacted violently, so termination was necessary. And of course, this shows us that SCP-230's substance can cause recurring addiction, something which makes the Gayest Man Alive a lot more dangerous. As a result, anyone who has had contact with SCP-230 must be isolated for no less than 1 month, and if the symptoms of infection persist after 1 month, termination is necessary. And finally, we come to his containment. As you can expect, due to the fact that his substance can spread across air, anyone who wishes to enter SCP-230's containment chamber needs to wear a hazmat suit with its own oxygen supply. Also, his containment chamber needs to be properly ventilated so that the exiting air can be filtered before it re-enters the ventilation system of the site. As for security, SCP-230 has made several attempts to escape using infected individuals, but due to the fact that all of his servants are impaired, meaning that they can't really deal a lot of damage, 230 is considered to be a low-level threat. Because of this, SCP-230 is to be given anything he requests as long as it doesn't violate standard security procedures. And unfortunately, apart from his wiki file, I wasn't able to find any other documents which feature SCP-230, so the Gayest Man Alive's origin story will remain a mystery, at least for now. So to sum things up, when SCP-230 uses the word gay, he does not refer to his orientation. Instead, he likely refers to the old, original meaning of the word gay, which means happy, joyful, or colorful. Too bad that SCP-230's chemical not only makes us very happy, but also turns us into mindless servants, because if everyone was as happy as he is, the world would be a much better place. If you enjoyed this video, then go watch our SCP-231 origin video, and make sure to subscribe with notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.